Critical Theory Basics. Video 3. Post-Structuralism and Deconstruction. Now, post-structuralism is in the direct opposite of structuralism. This was initiated with the publication of Structure, Sign and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences, a research paper in 1966 by Jacques Derrida at Johns Hopkins University. This was a revolutionary paper in the sense it went against the popular structuralism at the time. The main idea of post-structuralism is that it gives most importance to the emotive feelings of the writer. Post-structuralists seriously argue that meanings are hidden between the lines and meanings are fluid. Imagine water flowing from a container. Water can occupy any shape of the container in which you are pouring it. Similarly, meanings can be changed by the culture, by the background, by the emotive connotations of the text. These meanings are contaminated by their opposites. Now, in structuralism, the theorists maintain that opposites and negatives create meaning, whereas here in post-structuralism, opposites contaminate meanings and confuse the reader. And post-structuralists also argue that there are no facts. Nothing is real. There is no science, only interpretation of people. And each individual creates a different interpretation because that person's reality is entirely different from the other. Derrida and his theories. Deconstruction begins with the center, the point of origin. Imagine an earthquake. The shock waves begin in the epicenter. Similarly, a text, main meaning, concept, or idea lies hidden in the center. And the center can be reached when signifiers and signifieds are decoded or deconstructed. And here, signifier refers to a word and signifier the meaning. Signified is the meaning which is most important. And logocentrism or the analysis of words is opposed to phonocentrism or the analysis of sounds. And both these have no connection to each other whatever. All writings are termed as acriture, abstract, and made up of binary opposites that confuse the reader, hence the deconstruction. Now here, Derrida comes up with different terms for already what has been mentioned by the structuralist. In structuralism, lang refers to the overall language and parole is the individual utterance. In deconstruction, difference is the language. It is made up of difference and deferment. Difference is the difference of the meaning of a word. In fact, it can also be called as synonyms. What makes a chair different from a bench? The physical appearance, of course, whereas the number of people who use a chair is limited. 1 or 2 people at the most. In a bench, you can see 3 or 4. So that is the difference here. And deferment, meanings under constant change. Imagine a word that changes meanings across the ages. Stomach is one example which we saw in the previous video, where the meaning changes in different ages. Paul Deman and Jacques Derrida are known as the Boer deconstructors because of their hugely insane ideas on deconstruction. Demon believed that human subject is a mere pronoun, he, she, or it. There is nothing more to life than pronouns. And deconstruction looks upon the subject. It deconstructs the human element of the subject. Julia Kristeva, on the other hand, concentrated on intertextuality. Intertextuality is almost equal to imitation. It is present in all texts. Can you read something, probably your favorite poem or novel, and find out where the writer has got the idea for that book? A good example would be Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, taken from Boccaccio's Decameron. Another example is the novel Moby Dick by Herman Melville. Now, where did Melville get the idea for Moby Dick? He got hold of some of the records of a ship named Essex, and that was how he built up the construction of the whale and the anatomy of the whale, how it attacks a ship, and the extraction of perfume. So many details that he got out of a record. So all texts are intertextual, hence nothing is original. Just imagine the legends of King Arthur, repeatedly used by different writers. Philip Sidney has used the legend, Edmund Spenser in his Faerie Queene, and previously before that, we have the Mabinogion, where King Arthur appears as a young prince. We have the legends of Chrétien de Troyes, a French poet. We have the reference by Tennyson. We have the reference to King Arthur by so many American writers also. The Sword in the Stone is one example by T.H. White. So all texts are intertextual. C.S. Peirce and the three types of signs is another part of post-structuralism. Signifier resembling signify, the cause-effect principle, social conventions are all part of both structuralism and post-structuralism. Gillet-Deleuze perceived that observation varies from person to person. Space and time depend upon the subject, and he called space as the virtual. Just imagine two spaceships in space. The time on each spaceship varies according to its speed. Jean Baudrillard came up with the 4 codes of objects: functional, exchange value, symbolic, and sign values. Take a pen, for instance. The functional value of an ordinary pen and the most expensive pen is to write. All pens are created to write. Exchange value refers to the cost, principal, trade values. For instance, if you sell 10 pens, what is your profit? If you sell a pack of 100 pens, what is your profit? Symbolic, associating values to objects. For example, the pen presented by your grandpa has a symbolic value. The pen passed on to you from generations of your family has a symbolic value. And sign, what is hidden in the pen. Perhaps a promotional content hidden in the pen to promote the values of a country or Western ideals. Mont Blanc, the famous pen. When you imagine it, you imagine the mountain Mont Blanc, a symbol of Westernization. So these are some of the ideas of deconstruction. If you want to go deep into deconstruction, you can begin with structure, sign and play. Of Grammatology is an important text of deconstruction. It is a huge text, but you can start with Brezier, the chapter alluding to the meanings. Michel Foucault's The Order of Things is the easiest to start with. For post-structuralism, The Archaeology of Knowledge and Madness in Civilization are shocking analysis of where we get our knowledge and whether genius is not equivalent to madness. What do you think of deconstruction? Can you apply it to fashion? Can you apply deconstruction to modern education? Can you think of something else? Let me know.